Hey everyone, Grant K for the Flame Learning channel. In this video, we'll look at a new filtering functionality in Flame 2017 that will help you optimize the sources sequences and shot sequences when using the Connected Conform workflow. If you would like to follow along, please click the link in the YouTube description to download the media. Alternatively, if you're watching the podcast version of this video, then type the link displayed in your web browser. So we'll quickly recap the standard workflow when it comes to the Connected Conform workflow. Start off with an empty desktop and switch to the Conform area in Flame 2017. Hover over the Events List window and call up the contextual menu. Choose the first option to load an AAF. Using the browser, navigate to the folders containing the AAF files from Media Composer. Select all three files and go to the AAF and XML import options. Now we want to import and assemble all the metadata before linking to any media to the sequences. So disable Link to Media files and search and import media. This stops Flame from automatically looking for the media as we build the sequences. Click the Import button. So now you have imported a 15-second, 20-second, and 35-second version of the edit. All three versions will share the same media and effects, so we want to link them together using the Connected Conform workflow. I just want to point out that all these sequences have got an action timeline effects applied to this specific shot. There is also a marker that came through the AAF Conform that tells you the effect was an RGB keyer. Secondly, if you look specifically at the 15-second edit, the first shot contains a speed ramp time warp from 0% to 100%. I'm pointing these out now because they will be considered later on in the Connected Conform workflow. Now the next step is to create the sources sequence. Click Create Sources Sequence. A new sequence is created, and all the video and audio tracks have been taken into consideration. Practically in most cases, the audio would not need to be in the sources sequence, because you would probably get it mixed elsewhere. So you need to filter out the audio tracks to get a clean sources sequence. In order to do this, go through each of the sequences and lock out the audio tracks. When you do this in Flame 2017, you are able to filter out any track you do not want to be considered for the sources sequence. As an extra tip, you click the Options menu for the Events list. You can filter out the locked tracks in the list. So for example, if you only have the video sources and not the audio sources for a sequence, you can hide them for a better focused events list. Click Create Sources Sequence again. Now, since one already exists in the Sequences reel, you will get an overwrite warning. Click Create. The new sources sequence is created, and it's just the video sources for the Conform. So in the Flame 2017 products, you can now decide what goes into the sources sequence, which in turn keeps the media shared between all the sequences in the Connected Conform. Now let's go ahead and link it to the media. Click Search Location. Navigate to the Downloaded Media folder and you will find all the QuickTime files. The resolution of the media is the same as the AAFs, and we're not touching color management in this example, so leave all the menus in the default settings. Click Set. Back in the Conform area, your events list may or may not look like mine. This is down to your match criteria when trying to match the media to the sequences. To link it in this example, call up the Match Criteria window. Use source timecode and file name. All the media should now match, indicated by the ticks in the list. Now enable Save Sources to create a new reel with the source media if you need it later. Click Link Sources. The media is now associated with the sources sequence, and if you click the different sequences, you will see the media has linked up as well. So in summary, all the source media is shared across all the sequences. Now with any conforms, it is always advisable to do a continuity check. So if you haven't already done so, go to the Media Hub and navigate to the downloaded offline folder. Select all 3 clips and drop them onto a reel. Now switch to the timeline area. Let's add the offline clips to the 3 sequences to do the shot comparison. Starting with the 15-second sequence, add a new version track. Go to the beginning of this sequence and drag and drop the 15-second offline at the beginning of the edit. Go ahead and repeat the same steps for the 20-second and 35-second versions of the edits. Once you have completed these steps, press Escape or swipe right to switch to the player view. You should now be looking at the 35-second sequence. Click the viewer options and choose Show Viewing Settings. You can now flick between the different version tracks by clicking near the tabs in the sequence. But you can also go to the Compare Mode options and choose from a variety of settings. Let's go with the side-by-side comparison. Set the primary track to Track 1, Layer 3, and the secondary track to Track 2, Layer 1. If you scrub through the sequence with the positioner, you will see how the edit lines up. Now tab to the 20-second sequence and set up the primary and secondary tracks as before. Check that the conform matches the offline edit. Finally, go to the 15-second version and perform the same steps to check the edit continuity. Now at this point, you should be happy that everything lines up. Switch back to the primary viewer through the pull-down menu. You can also press Alt-5 to hide the viewing settings if you don't use the pull-down menu. So with everything lined up using shared media, it's now a good time to link all the sequences at the metadata or VFX level. Switch to the conform area again. You can close the sources sequence if you're not doing anything directly to the source media. To link the sequences at the metadata or VFX level, you need to create a shots sequence. Click the arrow next to the Create Sources sequence and choose Create Shots sequence. Now what should happen is that you get a new sequence which contains the longest instance of every shot or composite from all the sequences. But since each sequence has an offline reference, this is confusing the assembly of the shots sequence. So like the sources sequence, you can filter out any track you don't want. Start switching between the sequences and lock out the tracks containing the offline references. Once you have been through all 3 sequences, click the Create Shots sequence again. You will get the same overwrite warning as before. Just click Create. Looking at the updated shots sequence, you now have the longest instance of each segment across the edit ready for VFX work. Now if you remember earlier in the video, I pointed out the time warp in the 15-second sequence. This has been carried through and preserved via the shots sequence. This also applies to batch effects on segments. This preservation is also new to the Connected Conform in Flame 2017. To conclude this video, let's verify the connected segments. Switch to the timeline area. I'll take this segment in the shot sequence and apply a batch effects. You can apply anything you like to the image. I'll just load a quick effect I made earlier and connect it into the flow graph. Exiting batch effects, you can see the result in the player. If you call up the contextual menu, you can see the sub-menu called Jump to Connected Segments. This shows all the sequences that share the connected segments. If you sync the connected segments, you can flip through all the sequences and see the VFX has updated in every sequence. With the ability to filter tracks with source sequences and shot sequences, it's much easier to focus the sources sequence and shot sequences to a usable level. Be sure to check out the other videos covering the features, workflows, and updates to the Flame 2017 products. Comments, feedback, and suggestions are always welcome and appreciated. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to the Flame Learning channel for future videos.